Hello and welcome to the Transformation channel. In this channel, we discuss everything about different types of transformations that are being driven in the industry. And in the current series, we are specifically focusing on Agile Transformation. In this session, we will be talking about the top 9 reasons why Agile Transformations fail. As we all know that irrespective of number of coaches we have and the number of frameworks that are available in the market, we still see that the percentage of transformations succeeding in many organizations across different types of industries is still pretty low. So from that point of view, if you are driving an agile transformation or if you are thinking about embarking on an agile transformation journey, I think this video will definitely help you understand what are the anti-patterns, what are the elements that you need to really focus on if you want to succeed, and what can drive your initiative as well towards failure. I'm Nivarthi Jairam, the host for this channel, and if you like what is being discussed in this particular channel and the section, please hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell icon so that you don't miss out on future videos. Your subscription helps us grow the channel and help it reach wider audience. Now, moving to the top 9 reasons for agile transformations and failure specifically, and why we are talking about this. As I mentioned, despite the number of frameworks being available, number of certifications on coaching, as well as various aspects of transformation including HR, sales, apart from the development practices which was the earlier focus, we still see that most of the transformations are resulting in failure, and that is the reason why we are trying to focus this particular session, or possibly 2 sessions in this series of videos, specifically looking at the core reasons or the main reasons for transformations to fail. Let's get started with the first one. The number 1 reason is lack of clarity on why. As Simon Sinek always says, start with why. If your very purpose for getting on to this agile transformation journey is not clear, then it is very much understood, or it is imperative that your transformation is going to fail. You need to be very clear what you are trying to accomplish for the business unit or the organization based on how you are driving the transformation. If you are driving it top down, I think essentially you will think about the why at an organization perspective, and if you are driving bottom up, it would be limited. The why would rather be limited to your area of focus or your area of control where you are driving the transformation, or where the transformation is limited to. So absolute focus on the why, absolute focus on why you are driving this transformation. And if you are keen on looking at what are the good reasons or top 5 reasons that should drive your organizations to embark on agile transformation journey, I will drop a card here. We have published an earlier video, you can always look at it. And also there are top 5 reasons which are not to be looked at if you're wanting to be your transformation to really succeed. I think those are the 2 critical things, and I will drop a card for that video as well here. You can always look at those 2 and define your why very clearly. So if you are a transformation leader, then you should work with your sponsors, your business representatives who are appointing you or who have put the responsibility or onus on you to drive this transformation, to understand the main purpose behind driving this transformation. So that is our number 1 reason. If you don't have enough clarity, then it is bound to happen that you can't measure whether the transformation is succeeding or if there is any correction needed based on how you are progressing, which then starts pushing to towards failure. So that is our first reason. Now looking at the second reason, and this is again one of the most significant reasons for us to look at: lack of leadership participation and engagement. This is another biggest challenge for most of the transformations, and we always look at this also as, hold on, this also is one of the major challenges that we come across again different industry segments or most of the transformation initiatives. We do hear that there is a challenge in getting leadership to be actively participating in the transformation. Most of the times it is felt that the transformation is for the people and then it is driven by the coaches, but the major thing or major involvement is required from leadership, because leadership is also part of the organization. So if you are trying to transform an organization, then it is mandatory that leadership starts looking at actively participating and helping the coaches or the transformation leaders to identify the why. That is the number one a requirement for leaders to participate. Number two, if we are looking to build autonomous teams as part of the transformation initiative, and which we will, which means without leadership participation it's not possible to create autonomous teams. Leaders need to participate and start delegating authority so that we can have teams that are autonomous, who have the right authority to make decisions that are falling within the purview of their area of responsibility. That is another reason. And also the culture of the organization is defined by the leaders, which means if the leadership is not participating, then essentially the focus is more on practices and processes rather than the culture and the ways of working or ways of dealing within the system. So how decisions are made, how people are dealt with, how safe the teams are if they are trying to express certain opinions. So all these elements come out of the leadership participation. Another major requirement or the need for leadership participation is getting to that organizational agility. If you are looking at achieving business agility or enterprise agility or organizational agility, which involves spectrums which are beyond the regular development and operations, that means you are talking about strategic agility, you are also talking about change agility, financial agility, which is possibly beyond the layers of hierarchy that participates in the transformation. And if the leadership is not agile, then essentially the focus of the transformation is restricted to delivery agility or technical agility, and that does not solve the major chunk of challenges or does not give a definitive advantage for the organization that is embarking on an agile transformation. So that is our second challenge or second anti-pattern why agile transformations can fail. The third one is focusing on doing agile than being agile, and this means, as we discussed in one of the videos earlier, if the focus is on only the products and processes and practices, then you are doing agile. Until unless you are able to focus and help the people change their mindset, how they look at things, how they collaborate with people, how they treat their counterparts, how they orient themselves towards the team and organizational goals than their personal or individual goals. All these elements, if you are not looking at, that means you are only doing agile but not driving the agile mindset. That means you are not being agile as an organization, and this is another reason which can push an organizational transformation towards failure. And what we have also seen is most of the people advise or suggest that organizationally culture or look transformation of the culture should be looked at the last. Culture comes last, but I firmly believe culture should come first. It should be the foundation that should drive how you are going to implement or execute transformation. So always you start with culture, and it is something which takes a long time to transform as against implementing practices or helping teams to adopt agile ways of working. That's much easier done than helping or looking at changing the way people think, act and behave, and deal with other people in the system. So this is another important element which could drive an organizational transformation towards failure. The next one is lack of business engagement and participation, and this is another major factor, especially if you are driving transformation bottom up, which means it is essentially a technology driven transformation, and always there is a challenge of engaging business to actively participate in the transformation. So again, we have to be very clear what is the business problem that we are trying to solve by engaging them in this particular transformation, and give them a fair reason, a proper reason for them to be embarking on this transformation journey. If we are able to clearly articulate the critical business problems that we are addressing and what benefits business can realize by participating actively in the transformation, engaging themselves and putting that effort, not just the effort and also the investment in the transformation, then we would more or less be successful in engaging them to participate. If the focus is on just going and selling agile or any particular framework, whether it is safe or scrum or less or kanban, then it's more or less guaranteed that business would not be pretty keen on participating in the transformation. So focus on what are the critical business problems that they are interested in solving today, and what elements of agile or the framework that you are choosing can really help them to achieve or accomplish those points or those outcomes that they are looking for, and how it is going to help them in the larger scheme of things holistically from a organization's perspective. What it is the value that you are going to add, what is the outcome in terms of ROI that you can provide for the time and money they are going to invest or they are investing in the transformation journey. This is another important element, and also these elements will help you to actually engage the business actively in the transformation, because that is another challenge most of the coaches come to us with. We are not able to get the business to participate in our transformation journey. That primarily, if you are going and trying to sell your participation requirement as a product owner or as a product manager in the scrum events, safe events, then they don't relate to these, because their focus is on getting the maximum outcome, maximum value for their investment. So this definitely will help you to engage business much better in your transformation journey. So if you are getting value from what we are discussing, again please try and hit the subscribe button and the bell icon as well, and like the video. We will look at the next point for us to concentrate on, applying cookie cutter solutions, and this is another major reason that could result in your transformation being a failure. What does that mean? Take a case of Spotify being sold as a framework. Now Spotify has gone through a lot of maturity in their transformation journey and to reach where they are today. And we see that many organizations have would try to start from where they are today than looking at how they have gone through the maturity journey to reach today. And that means many organizations would look to start by saying, okay, we may not need chapter leads, we may not need chapter managers, we may not need full-time scrum masters, anybody in the team can play the scrum master role. That's not the right way to start, because any organization that has reached that state of maturity in their transformation journey would also have started with dedicated roles with focus on what is required in their context, in their business context, in their operational context. So if you are trying to skip the 4, 5, 3, whatever number of years of transformation journey they have undertaken and trying to start from their step number 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 for your transformation, then that means that again would be disastrous for your organization. What will definitely help is to see how they have progressed through that maturity journey, and in that context how much it is applicable to your organization, your context, and then decide what is the right starting point for your transformation. It's also about your maturity as an organization, as a team, or as a business unit, and also your acceptance to the change or level of change or the volume of change that would come in based on where you are looking to start. So your maturity in the agile journey itself is one of the major things to look at. The level of acceptance of the volume of change that would be brought in by trying to start at step 1 or step 10, and that is another thing to consider before you start going ahead and trying to implement cookie cutter solutions that has worked in another organization, even though it might be another bank, or it might be another service organization, or it might be another type of industry that runs similar business to yourself. Google did not become Google in a day, or Spotify did not become Spotify in a year. They all have gone through their own journeys, their own learnings, so to reach where they have reached. So it's important you not focus on their end state and try to look at starting your journey from there. Try to focus on your own state, where you are as an organization today in terms of understanding of the agile practices, understanding of your own operating environment, different products that you have, the organizational culture you have, which all domains you are operating in, what is the market state today, what is the level of acceptance of change of your people in the organization. And this is not an exhaustive list. You could look at many other elements which apply to your own context of the organization, and then decide where you start your transformation journey or what you start with. Don't just go ahead and start applying solutions that another organization has succeeded with. And also, if you are joining the new organization as a coach or as a transformation leader, don't try to just bring in what you have done in the earlier organization and start implementing in the new organization. And that's the biggest mistake you would be doing if you are planning that way. I would strongly recommend you to think about starting completely afresh. Whatever you have done, yes, you can keep those learnings with you, you can keep those experiences with you, and see how those could be utilized in the context of the new organization or the new team. Even for teams within the organization itself, how you have transformed one team may not necessarily or will not necessarily work with another team in a similar way. How you try to work with one individual to help him or her develop agile mindset will not be working essentially in absolutely similar fashion with another individual. So you need to customize each and every transformation in its own sense and drive it as absolutely a new change initiative that you are driving, rather than trying to take something that has worked somewhere and trying to implement here. So that is something I definitely advise. So these are the top 5 reasons as of now. We will try to cover the next 4 reasons in our part 2 of this video. So again, if you have got value, you are really liking what is being discussed in these sessions, please hit the subscribe button, help the channel grow and reach a wider audience. Like the video. If you have any comments, if you feel there is something else to add on to what has been discussed here, please put them down in the comment section below. And if you have any questions that you like to be answered, please again put in the comment section below. We will try and include them in our future videos and our backlog, and if they need specific attention, we might publish separate videos for that. Thank you all for watching this video, and I look forward to continuous engagement with you. Thank you again.